Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Citgo.
In the delicate arena of compliance, every conversation matters. Traditional methods can leave callers feeling unheard, but Citgo changes the game. Our empathetic interview technique reshapes compliance calls into powerful, compassionate interactions, ensuring no crucial detail is missed. It's about creating a conversation that matters, that resonates, that makes a difference. Be the change in your compliance approach. See the transformation for yourself at ethico.com/CPN. Book a demo, try our free ROI calculator, and explore the white paper by Tom Fox, The ROI of Compliance.
The Daily Compliance News for June 3, 2024, the Citgo 6 edition. And we begin with that story from the Houston Chronicle. As the Citgo 6, those Citgo employees who went to Venezuela allegedly for meetings and then were captured, detained, and tortured in Venezuela have now sued Citgo, claiming that Citgo used them as scapegoats, sacrificing them to President Maduro's regime by tricking them into taking a business trip to Venezuela on false pretenses. They say that Citgo knew the 6 executives would be arrested as a part of Maduro's purge campaign. Certainly PDVSA knew this was going to happen, and if that knowledge is imputed to Citgo, as PDVSA is the owner, then perhaps they can get some recompense back. Citgo is about to be auctioned for debts that PDVSA owes literally every oil company and energy company and every other company in the world that it's done work for. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. When it comes to corruption, well, it doesn't get much better than Rudy Giuliani. And the D.C. Ethics Board says that he should be stripped of his law license for his work on the failed lawsuits challenging former President Trump's election loss in Pennsylvania. So the bad news for Giuliani still continues. Of course, he brought it all on himself. Next up, in South Africa, the African National Congress has suffered its first defeat and lost its majority since the overturn of apartheid. And Bloomberg asked if the corrupt former president Zuma will now play a major role in the country's political future. He successfully upstaged his successor, Cyril Ramaphosa, in the national elections, and he says people are angry. I'm not sure they want his level of corruption back, but they may be getting it. And finally, our last story comes to us from the BBC, who reports on Boeing, and that the FAA wants systemic change at Boeing, needed to rebuild the confidence of the safety of its planes. This is just a start for Boeing. Obviously, they've got to rebuild its relationship with their customers, with their suppliers, and the flying public, because at some point that's all going to go downhill. So, but it's got to start with the regulators, so hopefully Boeing will make a turn. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.